Hey all, and happy bank holiday Monday to you. Um, yeah, what have I got for you today? Well, something really interesting actually. And I've been spending the best part of the past 4 or 5 days trying to figure it out on many different software solutions. And that obviously, as per the title, is the Sinden Light Gun. So I got mine. I think it took about 3 or 4 days to come through. Um, and I have to say, people like doing like unboxing and things, but there's not really much to see here. Okay, you literally get a box with some padding in it and the light gun itself. So obviously you can see I went with the black one. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it would make sense, but I, I somehow think that some of this has been 3D printed. I mean, it kind of looks that way. Maybe not all of it, but you get this detachable little piece here, which I think this is on there for sort of health and safety reasons, so that people don't actually think it's a real gun or something, especially when you've got the black version. A nice long USB cable attached to it, and this particular version has the recoil on it and pump action as well. So you've got 4 buttons on each, well, 2 on each side, and they're slightly offset from each other as well. Not sure what it is. There will be a reason. And there's a little D-pad there as well. Now, a little pro tip for this: when you want to reset your aiming for it, you literally hold down left on the D-pad for about 5 seconds. And depending on what you're using, so I'll go into that in a second, that just resets the cursor to the middle of the screen. You just literally pull the trigger and then bang. It's pretty accurate. Now, the thing with the Sinden Light Gun is, well, there's many different things you can use it for. So, or use it with rather. So you can obviously use it with MAME. If you're using a Windows operating system, then you will need to manually configure it with the downloadable software from the Sinden website. That in itself is quite confusing. You're probably going to need to go and look at forums to get assistance with that. Now, I managed to get it working pretty much straight off with I just used standard MAME for that initially, and no, I tell a lie, actually. No, I set it up with the Sega AM2 AM2 emulator. So I was playing House of the Dead and Virtua Cop 1 and 2 on that, and via Windows. Now, the biggest problem I had there was I'd put this on various different laptops so that I could then use the HDMI port from the laptop out to a TV. It just wouldn't work. Even when I set it to one screen, it still wouldn't work. So I didn't really want to just sit there using it on my laptop. Equally, I wanted to capture the footage as well. And I'll get to some footage of some games after my initial thoughts about the Sinden Light Gun. Then I started to tinker around with MAME. Same thing again. And then I don't know how I came across it, but something pinged in my head. It was my missus's boy's got a Raspberry Pi 3B, I think it is. So I was like, oh, can I borrow that? And I borrowed it, and a quick look online, and there you go. You just type in, I don't know, MAME for Raspberry Pi 3, and up comes Batocera, which is a Linux-based operating system for retro video games. I believe, well, I say believe, I know that James at Game Zone Bird Room has done some reviews of, I forget what it's called now. Is it the Elite V2 console, I think? And I think the Super Console X, but definitely the Elite V2 has Batocera installed on it. It's very easy to install Batocera, I have to say. You can just buy a computer and install it, and there's many different flavors for many different systems, so they pretty much cater for everyone. And it is not difficult to load up the ROMs onto them. I was actually really surprised that people charge so much money for a device that has Batocera on it, but equally I can understand and appreciate that from the perspective of people that aren't very technical, that do not have the ability to be able to do that themselves. But to add to that, I do think that some of these computers are quite overpriced for that. I've seen some of them free to 500 to 600 pounds. Okay, yeah, you may well be paying for the physical hardware, but I think somewhere down the line, I would hope that it's difficult. It's a grey area. You can't prove that people are making money from ROMs, but people do, which is an unfortunate truth. So anyway, I managed to get the Batocera for Raspberry Pi 3, stuck it on a memory stick. I used Rufus actually this time, but there's another piece of software that you can use to put that image onto a USB stick, and then you basically put it in your computer. For example, the computer F12, I think for Dell computers, and then you just select the USB stick and then just boot from the USB. The only kind of problem I had with that was you have to turn off secure boot within the BIOS on a Dell computer, and I think that probably goes for most of them. There are some issues as well I've noticed with some computers, especially ones with Intel chips. That is a bit of an issue when you want to use an HDMI cable to tell it. I believe that's the reason why it wasn't working for me. I don't have a machine that's got an AMD chip in it, so I can't say for sure that's the reasons. So anyway, yeah, so installed it onto Pi with a USB stick. Absolutely seamless. A couple of little issues where, for example, the main title screen was green and pink. That was very quickly fixed by running or changing the build to beta within the settings on there, and then from there it just updates to a beta version, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. It was sorted. Obviously, the Pi being a smaller computer, I didn't notice at the time, but it's pretty obvious when you think about it. Was basically, well, one, the power of it, and two, you need to change emulators for certain games. Now, whereas there is like, for example, on, I forget, I forget who, it's not the Wayback Machine. I forget what website it is, but it does like a historical record of all ROMs and stuff, and you can download the entire Light Gun pack for Batocera from there. If you include the PS3 and Wii stuff, you're looking at over 120 odd gig. But I just kept it small. Went for the base pack of 26 gigabytes. I copied that over by basically connecting my Pi to the Wi-Fi, and then using a Windows computer to access the share from the Pi, and then just copy the data over. But obviously, as you can imagine, that took fucking ages. But I got there and got to test out some of the games, which you're going to see in a minute. So, and plus a little bit of footage of me playing the games on the TV. And that again is through the Pi, which is pretty simple. You know, you can just connect that up to your telly and off you go. And it's great fun. You know, for me, I've plugged in, do you know what? I don't know where I've got the Pi over here actually. I've taken the lid off it at the moment because I was just keeping it cool. But it's the Raspberry Pi 3B. I just connected an Xbox controller into the USB port and the Sinden Light Gun into the next one. Power cable, and an HDMI. That was it. That's all there was to it. Worth noting that you have to make sure you use either a genuine Raspberry Pi power adapter or a power adapter that runs at is it 2 volts? No, I'll tell you in a sec. It's fuck me. I always forget. But I think it's 2 volts, 0.3 milliamps. No, just wait a second. It's the same one as the OnePlus charger, which is 5 volts, 2 amps. So it's the same as that. That was doing fine for me, but I just wanted to make sure I was using the correct power supply. Yeah, so it's, you know, I've been having a lot of fun with it, and there is a lot. I mean, with Batocera, it's plug and play. It's basically plug and play. You just plug your Sinden Light Gun in, hold down the left on the D-pad for about 5 seconds, and then shoot the screen, and you're good to go. That's it. It is literally plug and play. You don't have to do that, but I just prefer to do it anyway. And that's it. Whereas obviously for other things, like for example, I don't know per se. Well, I don't really know actually. Say CoinOps 2 next. I know people can use it, but there's an awful lot of configuration you've got to do, and that's going to put a lot of people off. But if you just get Batocera, it's plug and play. Obviously, using a Pi, you are limited to what games you can play. I know for a fact that on the Pi 3B, you can't use games like the AM2 games like Virtua Cop, House of the Dead. You certainly can't run House of the Dead 2. It won't run. It will run, but so slowly it's not worth playing. Games like Space Gun, what else? Carnival and Carnival. Those light gun games again will not work on the Pi 3. I'm not, well, let's put it this way, they won't for me. No matter what I change in the emulator settings for MAME in Batocera. So I've moved from like 0.078 ROMs to just standard MAME, and they just won't run on it. So I suspect I'm right in saying that they just won't run on that. For that, you obviously would need a PC with Batocera on it for those to run. So you can, a bigger chip, more memory, and probably a damn sight, an awful lot of space to put your ROMs on. So yeah. So anyway, I have thoroughly enjoyed this. The kickback on the recoil is fantastic. I don't know whether it's more than what it was in the arcade when you used to play games with the feedback, but you can change it. You can make it less or even turn it off if you want. But it feels heavy. It's nice and sturdy. You wouldn't want your kids grabbing hold of this, to be honest with you, young kids, because I guarantee, this was what, 149, I think 99. Yeah, you wouldn't want them messing around with one of these, I tell you. But how does it work? Well, it all works with the camera. Can you see that in there? So the reason why you're going to see a white border around the screen is because that's how the software knows where it's going. It kind of, I don't know the science behind it. All I know is that the guy that created this, I think his name was Andrew Sinden. Massive kudos to you. I mean, he's like a real innovator to get this to where it is now. You can get the standard version without recoil and pump action. I think it's $89.99, and you can get 2 recoil versions for £260, I believe it is. It's slightly cheaper than buying them individually on their own, separately. But if you get the chance to get one, I highly recommend it. Probably more for the techies out there, unless of course like for example, I know James at Game Zone Birmingham again has got the Elite V2. I would assume, I can safely assume you could plug this directly into that computer and it would work off the bat. I'm pretty damn sure. If it's running Batocera, it will run this. This will work. So there you go, James. There's something for you to look at asking your missus for your birthday or Christmas, or if your birthday's gone, for Christmas, or just at any time. And obviously to all of you out there that have got an Elite V2, for example, but just anything really with Batocera running on it, PC wise anyway. So yeah, so that's it. What do I think? Well, what do I think? I think it's, I just said it, I think it's a great piece of technology. I've been having a hell of a lot of fun with it. It isn't available for everyone because it can be a bit out of reach. It's quite expensive. It's a lot of money to shell out for something like that when in today's current climate, or any time really. It's but there's lots of good information out there about it. There's lots of information on the website. There's a really good Sinden Light Gun wiki as well, which gives you all the information that you need to help you diagnose and troubleshoot any problems that happen with the gun itself. And yeah, so excellent. Let's have a look at the games, shall we? So there's a selection here of about 5, 6, maybe 7 different games, and we got some games on the Master System, we got some games on the NES, and MAME, so arcade. Obviously these are the ones that I chose that are running on the Pi 3B. Okay, so don't shoot the messenger if you're like, well, where's House of the Dead? Where's Virtua Cop? Where's Jurassic Park? Where's Star Wars Arcade? Well, I'll get to that in the future when I can figure it out and get them working properly on a TV instead of a little laptop. because I don't really want to go down the route of having to try and run everything from one device, like on a laptop, using OBS to record the screen whilst I'm running the emulator and running the Sinden software, and that's on Windows. It's crazy. Anyway, here's the games, and once they're done, there'll be a bit of footage of me playing the games for about 5 minutes. So you've got a bit to watch through yet, but thoroughly enjoyed this, highly recommend it, and enjoy the games coming up and my bit of gameplay from me actually shooting the screen, just to see that it does actually work. Anyway, until the next one, take care and see you later.
Lethal Enforcer. Lethal Enforcers. Player 1.
In progress at 32nd Street, State Bank.
Reload. Reload. Put your hands up. You missed me, big.
Help me!
Don't shoot. You missed me, big. Magnum bullets.
Help me! Don't shoot!
Player 1. Reload. No. Reload. Don't shoot. Reload. Don't shoot.
Help me!
You missed me, big. Freeze. What are you doing? Player 1.
Help me!
You can't kill me, copper! Reload! You missed me, big! Automatic! Freeze! Reload!
Don't shoot!
Reload! Reload! You can't kill me, copper! Reload! Player 1. Let's go! Reload! 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 Player 1. Reload! What are you doing? Player 1. Reload!
Zombie Raid.
Selection with the gun. Warning! The enemy has located you. Village is freed and recovered from damages. Success in freeing the hostages. You succeeded in demolishing the communication setup, cutting off the enemy from rescue. The raid on the powder magazine was successful. We have a new Operation Wolf. Operation initiated. You have sustained a lethal injury. Sorry, but you are finished here.
Oh! Yeah, some of these don't work. That's because I need to upgrade to a Raspberry Pi 4. Ah, man. Trying to record in 4K, you've got 5 minutes.
Operation Wont.
That'll
Make
do.
the selection with the gun. Warning, the enemy has located you. Village is freed and recovered from damages. Success in freeing the hostages. You succeeded in demolishing the communication setup.
That'll do.
Operation initiated.
Never being any good at this game.
man.